Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Impact Wrestling Review, and it is the top 15 takeaways from the latest edition of Impact Wrestling on Twitch on Pursuit, a new format edition to where I'm getting to the bullet points, I'm cutting out all the fluff, and I'm getting right down to it. So, first of all, feel free to like this video if you are an Impact Wrestling fan and you love Impact Wrestling Reviews every week. We're about to hop into it right now. My first takeaway is, where is Brian Cage? So Johnny Impact came out. He talked about being a fighting champion. He talked about being hurt, and he talked about how he wanted a new challenge. So that brought out Moose. He came down. He talked about how Johnny Impact was a crybaby and the worst champion in Impact history. So he said that he would be champ if it wasn't for Killer Cross. And Brian Cage, that brought out Killer Cross. He got into Moose's face. They went back and forth. And Johnny Impact stirred the pot. He said that they should have a match. Winner gets a title shot. And that's what we would have. It would be Moose versus Killer Cross. And that would bring me to my next takeaway. Takeaway number 2 is Brian Cage helps Johnny Impact. So we had Moose versus Killer Cross, and they went back and forth, and it wasn't very much a long match, to be honest, because Johnny Impact would get involved, and that would throw out the match, and that would commence into a Moose and Killer Cross beatdown of Johnny Impact, and they were on the same page when it came to that. So that brought out Brian Cage. He made the save, and I had a problem with that, to be honest. He made the save, he gave Johnny Impact the belt, but you mean to tell me that Moose and Killer Cross was in the ring and a number 1 contendership match was made, and Brian Cage was nowhere to be found because he has wanted a one-on-one title shot for the longest? He wasn't there to break it up, but he was there to help out Johnny Impact, the guy that he hates. I have a hard time believing that one, but it is what it is. My next takeaway is Conan was hyped. They were backstage, Conan and LAX. We had the classic backstage LAX segment with the LAX music, and Conan was hyped up about the LAX versus Lucha Bros match, LAX versus Lucha Bros 3, if I'm not mistaken. And he said that he wanted to keep it respectful and that everything would be done right tonight. So after that, Cage and Impact, this is kind of getting, I don't want to call it stale, but the story isn't changing all that much. Johnny Impact and Cage was backstage. Impact thanked them for helping them out, and he said that they should team up to take out Moose and Killer Cross, because Killer Cross and Moose would never get out of their business, so he wanted to take them out. And Brian Cage did not want to do it. He wasn't having it. So Johnny Impact offered him a title shot in the contract. Brian Cage would think about it. So after that, my next takeaway, Gama Singh brought out a bong. We had the Rascals. We had their classic segment, and it could be hit or miss from time to time. And it was kind of missing a little bit, but Gama Singh came in. He brought out a bong, and like, I don't know what to say from there. It became a hit from there. I enjoyed that segment. Gama Singh with the Rascals. How about that? What a backstage, that 70 circle, a segment that was probably the best one in my opinion. Oh, Gama Singh trying to teach these guys the way. So after that, I got my next takeaway was my weekly Rascal fix. The Rascals versus the Desi Hit Squad. And I gotta admit, I'm not too high on the Desi Hit Squad. I wanted them to get rid of Gama Singh. I thought that their heel personas would come out a little bit more after last week when they had the promo on Twitch. And obviously Gama Singh is still running the show here. So what we had was a pretty good match that I enjoyed very much. It picked up once Desmond Xavier was going for the tag. Trey Miguel was paying no attention, and he slapped him in the chest, and Trey Miguel hopped in and he ran wild. I enjoy his offense. I enjoy all of the Rascals offense, to be honest. The match would end as we would get a 619 times 2, and it would end as Trey Miguel would pick up the victory with the top rope knees, and it was a pretty good match. The Desert Hit Squad, I always say I have trouble getting into them, so we'll see how it goes from here on out. They obviously have potential on the microphone. I hope they give them more time on the mic. We'll see going forward. My next takeaway, the Book of Eli. I always enjoy a Eli Drake backstage segment, of backstage promo, and he laid out a good one with Eddie Edwards. He hyped up the match. I enjoyed it very much. My next takeaway after that is Rich Swann coming home. Is he finally coming home? He was in the hospital. Sami Callihan joined him, and Sami Callihan talked about how he was proud of Rich Swann for standing up to him. He talked about he apologized for putting him in the hospital, and the nurse came around, said, "Excuse me, this is only for family," and Rich Swann stopped there. He said that, yes, he is family. So Sami Callihan stayed, and he offered Rich Swann the OVE shirt. He laid it on his chest, and we would go from there. The story continues, and story in the X division, I appreciate that very much, and we'll see how it all turns out from here. My next takeaway is that I got to be honest, I am kind of tired of seeing Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards. I don't mean to be so negative today, but it's just, I'm tired of the same story. This has been playing out week after week after week after week. And to be honest, the match itself was pretty darn good. It was pretty good. Those guys have phenomenal chemistry in the ring. We got some really good near falls. It was very exciting. The crowd was into it. But at the end of the day, I'm just not that excited about Eli Drake versus Eddie Edwards. The sooner we can get a close on this feud, the better. Every time they get in the ring, it's a fantastic match. Eddie Edwards, will pick up the victory over Eli Drake with a cradle for the win. We'll see where it goes from here on out. My next takeaway is Tessa B is nothing to mess with. She was backstage. She was complaining about Gail Kim. She wanted another title match. She didn't get it, and she was just ticked off from there. We would see her later on in the night. My next takeaway, Glenn Gilberti gets locked out, and thankfully so. He had a quote-unquote job offer from Don Callis. He was looking around to see where he had to go, and it ended up with him getting locked out of the building. I hope it stays that way. Like I said, I don't mean to be so negative, but look, I just hope it stays that way. Once again, going back to the Tessa B ain't nothing to mess with. Takeaway, we had Alicia Edwards versus Delilah Doom, and I thought this would be a showcase for Delilah Doom, but we got like a minute into the match, and there was Tessa Blanchard wreaking havoc everywhere, all over Alicia Edwards. She beat her down. Delilah Doom got in a lot of offense. To be quite honest, I thought that Tessa Blanchard would just run through everybody, but Delilah Doom got in some offense. But eventually, Tessa Blanchard hit an impressive last ride sit down power bomb, and she wrecked shop. So Tessa Blanchard stood tall. She wants her title shot. She wants what's deserved to her. And after that, we got my next takeaway is Ace Austin. This guy, I'm not very familiar with him, but we have a new signee to Impact Wrestling. And as always, I always stick around. I want to see what the new signees are all about. And I've heard some good things about this guy, and I cannot wait to see him. We got also Delilah challenging Tessa Blanchard for a match next week, and she will get ramrodded. She will get ramshacked. Good luck to her. My next takeaway is Rosemary making a deal with James Mitchell. How about this? We got a good back and forth with James Mitchell and Rosemary. Rosemary said that she wanted Allie. James Mitchell said that Allie didn't belong to her. So we had a deal made. James Mitchell told Rosemary to find a partner, and we would have ourselves a tag match. If Rosemary and her partner wins, they get Allie. If she loses, James Mitchell gets Rosemary. So how about that? We'll see how that all goes down. A dark war. We'll see how it all goes down. I'm assuming that's gonna take place next week. We'll see about that. So in the main event, we had the Lucha Bros versus LAX, and I just gotta say that my last takeaway is that LAX and the Lucha Bros feels very rushed. Like, the feud feels very rushed. Like, I really think that we've had 3 matches so far, and it's played out within some weeks. And I feel like this should have played out in months. And it feels like we're getting these matches back to back to back, and it's kind of taking a little bit of luster off of the feud, to be honest. But what we got here was a fantastic main event. I enjoyed every bit of it. I enjoyed the fact that LAX ramp attacked the Lucha Bros. They wasn't waiting, and they went right at them. What we got was like I said, another fantastic match. We had some great spots. The Pentagon Driver, I thought the match was over right then and there. We had the Lucha Brothers with a Dudley Boy, what's up? A Lucha modification, and I enjoyed that, to be honest. And to me, the spot of the match was the springboard dropkick by Phoenix. He had a hesitation. He almost fell off the ropes. He caught his balance, and he hit the dropkick. That was amazing to me. And the match would end as we would get the double stomp fear factor for the win. However, the story of the entire night, as I've been saying, look, I'm tired of this handshake stuff. As I've been saying for some time now, I want somebody to slap somebody. And we went for the handshake with LAX. They offered their hands out, and Lucha Bros wasn't having it. They got in LAX faces, and they took some punches and kicks to the face because of it. And we got the unmasking by LAX of the Lucha Bros. They held up the masks as we faded to black, and that is a good advancement of this feud. As a matter of fact, if I was booking it, I would have just ran that as a segment and saved the match. But nonetheless, this feud continues, and I expect a personal matchup to take place in the next match. We're gonna have some type of stipulation on it, some type of no disqualification, some type of street fight, some type of something, because when you unmask somebody, excuse me, that is the quote unquote ultimate disrespect. So I cannot wait, even though I feel like it's very rushed, I cannot wait to see where we go to next with LAX and the Lucha Bros. That is it for this takeaway from the latest episode of Impact Wrestling. I hope you enjoy this format. It's nice and quick. Let me know your thoughts on Impact Wrestling down below in the YouTube comments, or on Twitter, or on Periscope. You can find me at 2SweetPod, and on Twitter you can find me at 2SweetPod and at OMG Corey B. I am out.